This country was built on a distinctly American work ethic. But today, work is in trouble. We've outsourced most of our manufacturing to other countries. And with that, we sent away good jobs and diminished our capability to make things. American Giant is a clothing company that's pushing back against this tide. They make a variety of high-quality clothing and activewear, like sweatshirts, jeans, dresses, jackets, and so much more. All made right here in the USA, from growing the cotton to adding the final touches. So when you buy American Giant, you create jobs for seamsters, cutters, and factory workers in towns and cities across the United States. And it's about more than an income. Jobs bring pride, purpose. They stitch people together. If all that sounds good to you, visit American-Giant.com and get 20% off your first order when you use code STAPLE20 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with promo code STAPLE20.
Denim is in demand at Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston. Get cash on the spot for everything denim. Bring in your trendy and classic styles of gently used name brand denim. Get paid for your denim shorts, skirts, jackets, jeans, and more. We're looking for denim that is blue, black, or a bold color. And jeans in styles like mom jeans, bootcut, baggy, flared, and ripped. We want everything denim. Sell your denim for cash at Plato's Closet today. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
This is a podcast from Minute Media.
Hashtag no music, no intro. Woo. Round one, the draft is over, man.
Ooh, we did it, man.
We did it. Ryan and I are in Vegas. We've had a great time in Vegas. Today is Friday. The Saints have their 49th pick in round two. We were at El Dorado Cantina last night. Shout out to our dude, Kevin Interstellar. You can follow Kevin on Twitter at Kevin Interstellar. Drove from LA to Vegas to experience like the draft and the draft experience by the Bellagio. He came and joined us, him and his brother. So big shout out to Kevin. I just want to, for everyone who joined the Zoom last night, we appreciate y'all. We wanted to do something a little different this year. You know, we are the hashtag Saints Twitter podcast, and I feel like everyone should be involved, right? In Saints Twitter. It shouldn't just be, you know, just two dudes just speaking opinions. So we did our live stream. Everyone who was the Patreon who wanted to join the Zoom last night got up in there. Nat, we're coming for you, bro. Coming for you a little bit, Nat, but
that was wild.
But other than that, it was great. You know, for us to kind of experience the draft that way, and you know, we tweeted it from our Twitter account. Just what a difference a year makes. Our reaction last year to the Peyton Turner pick, to this year with Chris Olave. They also drafted Trevor Penning, which kind of seems like the redhead stepchild. No one wants to talk about Trevor Penning right now. So you've had a night to sleep on it and everything. Give me your thoughts after everything's kind of processed for you.
For me, man, it just I like to see the aggression. What it tells me is that, you know, there were reports out there that, you know, had some discussions about going defense and all that stuff. Apparently, you know, Pete Carmichael and some of the offense have got that word in, man. They need some offense, bro. Like, you know, Pete Carmichael, I imagine him, man. He wasn't even going to come back. Y'all to talk this man to come back as offensive coordinator. Like, give that man something to work with, you know what I'm saying?
Pete was like, I'm supposed to be cooked with Mike Thomas and some slappies, and y'all brought me back for this?
I ain't seen Mike Thomas run a route since
the playoff game, bro.
COVID didn't exist. COVID didn't even exist the last time I seen him run. So it's like, man, it's just refreshing. Look, we don't know the outcome of none of this.
None.
We don't know if Chris Olave is going to be great, is it going to be bad, going to be mediocre. We don't know how Trevor Penning going to work out. It's so many questions, but really, I just wanted to see that they see what we see.
There it is.
Like, it's been a neglected offense for years. Even when Breeze was here, even when they were making the runs to competing for the Super Bowl the last couple of years, they refused to invest any draft capital into young offensive talent, and it cost them at the end of the day. So I was just happy to see that, man. Like, just hearing that name called, them trading up, was able to keep the first round pick, didn't give up the number 49 pick. So that to me meant everything. I know there's a lot of, draft, Knicks like, oh, yeah, value. They so Saints will get short, giving up a lot of picks, blah, blah, blah. Man, look, who cares? Nobody cares. Get talent on your team, man, and do what you got to do to get it. So I'm just been breaking down the tape and just enjoying what I see, man.
Absolutely. I think that I just imagine how Curtis Johnson feel right now, bro.
Come on, CJ. Come on, man.
Curtis Johnson, I got fired, and now y'all want to go. I echo their sentiment because I think we've said on this podcast for months and even years now is. We've said on this podcast for months is what's the vision? And them going up, getting Chris Olave kind of signifies that they have somewhat of a vision, or at least they see the deficiencies that were on the team that were you couldn't miss them. There's no way you could watch this offense over the last couple of years, especially at the wide receiver position, and just think they'll be all right. It was just, like you said, a position that's been neglected for years. I was thrilled for them to move up 16 to 11. It only cost, and I say only, people won't be like, oh, that's a lot. I mean, besides AK recently and Paulson Adebo, who's the third rounders really coming in, just changing the game for the Saints?
And honestly, with this draft, every draft is different. The talent in this draft was kind of clumped in the late first. You just had a lot of good players, around 30 or 40 really good players. We had some solid players. So to me, once you started getting to third, fourth round, you really just throwing darts at the ball, man. That's not, that's not every draft. Some draft is some low-key talent that you can find. But just watching this one, it's best to, get a lot of it. Just go get the most talented dudes, man. Go get them, man.
This will be interesting to see how this played out, right? Leading up to the draft, we were all like, man, Jameson Williams is going to be the first wide receiver taken. He's not going to be available when the Saints get on the board. They traded up to 11. So the Saints had their pick of basically anyone that wasn't Garrett Wilson or Drake London. And I really feel that they went with Chris Olave over Jameson Williams. One, the whole Ohio State thing. I don't think that can be understated. Ohio State has treated the Saints well for years now with draft. And I also think they wanted a playmaker that can be on the field and ready to play now, week one. In long term, Jameson Williams he might just be that dude for the Lions. He's going to he could come back slow, and when he gets healthy, him and St. Brown, that's a, and they got Tyler or whatever, Hackensack, just gotta get a quarterback. But other than that, he went to a good situation. But I really think that shows that it's what we heard as soon as they made the trade for 16 and 19. Mm-hmm. They wanted young players on a 5-year rookie contract that can come in and make an impact now.
Yeah.
And this team thinks that they are a lot closer than the perception potentially of them may seem. And so I think that's really what led into them going Olave over Jameson. So I watched a lot of Chris Olave leading up to the draft. I watched a lot of Chris Olave last year, and I kind of tweeted it. But if you watch Chris Olave's tape from 2020 to this year, he didn't have a bad season this past season, but his 2020 tape, he looked like one of right in that Jalen Waddle, maybe not that good, but right under that tier of player. And then he decided to go back to Ohio State. And I really think the difference in those two seasons is that in 2020, him and Justin Fields had a synergy on the field that, kind of like Breeze and Mike Thomas had. They just kind of knew. And when Justin Fields went, declared, got drafted, and then CJ Stroud just didn't have a good rapport with Chris Olave, man. And it's you can watch the tape and it's just not there. Chris CJ Stroud loved him some Garrett Wilson.
And Garrett Wilson,
And he benefited from it. Yeah, right. But like the synergy just wasn't the same. And I don't think that takes away from Chris Olave as a player. But you go back and watch I watched a couple of 2020 games this morning, and it was like, yes, like I think that's the player the Saints are envisioning they're getting, probably even more so than the Chris Olave we may have seen this past season.
Exactly. Then you just got to factor in, we don't know how the quarterback situation will play out long term, but this year is going to be Jameis. And we pick apart Jameis in a way we pick him apart ourselves. But the one thing the dude is good at,
he gonna sling that bitch.
Well, I mean, he had Devontae Harris looking like, legit when he was on the field.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He was doing the post routes, the routes up the seam, and he was hitting them in stride on the money. And, Chris Olave could give you that plus more.
And the thing is, now you can threaten the defense a lot more. You have Harris or Hardy on the field with Chris Olave.
Last year, sometimes Harris was the only one that can get open. Only one. Nobody could get open. No one. It would be like watching the Saints game and just be like, are we playing the 2000 Ravens right now? But we'll be playing like the Giants or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we not getting open? So you got two players that with legitimate speed that can get open, and that's not including, Mike Thomas, hopefully if he gets back healthy, he gets open in his own kind of way.
Right.
Veteran savvy and route running. And I don't know what you think about this, but you think about the possibility of them bringing Jarvis Landry into the fold? Do you think that still exists? Or was that just kind of like a back burner thing, depending on the draft?
I think it was a back burner thing, depending on the draft played out. I would be more inclined to say, like, if they do sign a veteran, I think it's probably more than likely going to be Honey Badger rather than Jarvis.
I think that makes sense.
And
when the draft played out.
And here's another point about the Chris Olave selection that I really think helps the team. And I kind of said it last night we said it before we said on our last podcast, is that now everyone can just go back in their fucking roles. Like, Callaway doesn't have to pretend to have to be a wide receiver 1. He could be a wide receiver 4. Traquan got brought back for 2 years. Don't know why, but whatever, man. Traquan back. That's it. He could be a wide receiver 3. Everyone gets to go back in their roles in the offense, and they don't have to try to be fit into a peg or a window where they're not the guy. And I think that'll help tremendously the offense going forward. I don't want to spend the whole entire time talking about Chris Olave, even though I could. Before we talk about Trevor Penning, obviously we're recapping the Saints portion of what happened in the draft, but this was a crazy draft, bro.
It was, and I got to go back and look at it more because I was just sitting there thinking, like, damn, a lot happened last night.
AJ Brown got traded.
That's the thing I can't stop thinking about. Like, AJ Brown got traded to the Eagles.
So the tweet that Adam Schefter retweeted from the ESPN beat reporter for the Titans for ESPN was that basically the Titans offered AJ Brown a contract extension that totaled, I believe it was like $18 million a year or something like that. No, 16. And with incentives, if he would have hit it, it would have gotten up to 20. And AJ Brown wanted at least 22 million. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, the Titans just weren't going to budge on that number. But we've seen it with Mickey Loomis, bro. That's why Marcus Williams is in Baltimore. Like we've seen this. Some GMs and front offices of teams, once they have a number set for a player, regardless of sometimes how good that player is, and if that number isn't met, it's like, okay, like we'll do what we got to do. I'll say this about the Eagles, though. Hated Jordan Davis pick, although it's such an Eagles pick. It really is an Eagles pick. And now you can kind of put him next to, Fletcher Cox, even though Fletcher Cox is kind of at the end of his, career, end of his, his prime. But you've set the table up so nice for whoever the quarterback's going to be. Because now you got A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith, you got Dallas Goedert. Your offensive line tends to be in the top half of the league consistently. And even if Jalen Hurts doesn't work out, which I don't think he's going to, you still have so much draft capital next year that you can just maneuver the draft to whoever you want to draft next year. Like they are the Eagles, and I'm not an Eagles person, not an Eagles fan. I'm saying just the Eagles are like set up to do well and set up to go well. One of the worst moves of the draft, and I'm befuddled that this happened, was the Cardinals traded their 23rd overall pick to the Ravens for Hollywood Brown, bro.
Like
Hollywood fucking Brown.
You shouldn't even call him Hollywood Brown.
That man is San Fernando Brown, bro. Like this man is Skid Row Brown. Like what?
Don't get me wrong. He's talented.
He's been an utter disappointment.
But he's frustrated. Like, he's frustrated for me. I'm not a damn Ravens fan, but just watching, I'm just trying to see that Lamar, like people playing Lamar, his throwing ability and how he's moved over there, and they blame him. But man, I watch it like Lamar's putting it on him.
He's a frustrating player. He's a slightly better version of Jalen Reagor to me, like right now in his career. So for the Cardinals to trade the 23rd overall pick for him, so now you have Nuke, you have Brown, you brought back AJ Green, you drafted Rondale Moore last year in the second round. It just
go get George Pickens.
It just seems like a weird
Sky Moore.
A weird fit, man.
I don't get it.
I really don't at all. The Packers seem. Did Sean Payton become the coach of the Packers and we missed something, bro? They are refusing. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan as a person, but as a football player.
But it's just like, damn, you lose Devontae Adams, the best wide receivers in the league. You got a couple sitting there, and you just like,
if MVS goes to the Chiefs, so you got Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb right now. And that's it, bro. You got Robert Tonyan coming off an ACL injury, and you got Aaron. And so I get like a very present day last couple of drafts the Saints have done, right? They've gone defensive players, right? And the Packers got Wyatt, and I forgot who else they drafted, and a linebacker. I don't know. I'm slipping who they drafted. They got two defensive players in the draft yesterday, and it's just like, are they trying to build like a super stout defense and just become a run?
Sometimes these offensive coaches fall into the trap of thinking like, man, I'm an offensive coach. I can get the offense.
There it is.
It's nothing. We need some players on defense, which is fine. Like, we need a better defense. Go right ahead. But man, know what makes your team good.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Packers lost that playoff game last year because they couldn't do squat in the pass game pretty much. Aaron Rodgers played horrible. The offense, everybody knows what the offense is. Montana.
That's it.
Take them away. Stop Aaron Jones when you can, and you're good to go. You're gonna win. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, man. And trying to think what else. Patriots pick was like.
Such a fucking Patriots pick.
It's like, okay, let's get on out of here. Like what the Jets did.
I really like what the Jets did.
Atlanta taking Drake London, man. I, for the record, like Drake London as a prospect. Like from the first time, he's the first player I watched in this draft.
Oh, was he?
And I said, this USC guy's pretty damn good. I'd like to take him in like the second round or something. He's a big player. And he went up to the top 10.
He was the first wide receiver drafted, bro. Which I'm pretty sure if someone would put money on that, they would have hit.
Bro.
They would have hit. I hit a small amount on putting money on Derek Stingley going 3 in the first corner taken. Made some small bucks, but that Drake London going 8?
I would have never thought of a guy that hadn't run a 40 There's questions about his speed
and separation.
And make no mistake, like I really like him. I think he's going to be a productive wide receiver that probably will catch 80 balls. So 80 balls a season. But it's like, he's not a guy I start my offense with.
But here's the thing, though. You know what's going to happen, though? Like, he's either a team or is going to come out and put their cornerback one on Kyle Pitts, more than likely. And you got, or maybe they change it up and they nickel back. Like, but Drake London's going to see a lot of man-to-man coverages against, like, NFL cornerback ones, bro. And I don't know about it. It's a very, perplexing pick. Maybe, Mickey sent Terry over there and said, hey, do some voodoo on them boys, bro. It doesn't make sense to me. Let's talk about these quarterbacks. The only quarterback taken in round one was Kenny fucking Pickett to 20 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We were talking about Malik Willis and when they would have to trade up to get Malik. But Malik Willis still available in the second round. Still available in the second round. I know he's not going to fall to 49, but I think a big thing, and I'll say this about pick 19 before talking about Trevor Penny, is we talk about this all the time. NFL teams will show you what they think of their team or players by the moves they make in free agency, during football games of who they play and who they don't play, and in the draft especially. And the Saints were on the clock at 19. They could have had their pick of Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis, and they passed on them both for Trevor Penny. If one of those quarterbacks work out and like they are the guy, whatever. I'm not saying they got to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying they have to be an all-pro player, but if they're a good to decent NFL quarterback for 10 years and starting, that was a bad Trevor Penny, no matter how good he could become, a bad pick.
Yeah, there's no question about it. That would freak me out. Like, especially with Malik Willis, so much talent there, man.
And he could have, again, I don't think he's going to be there at 49, but he would have fell into the perfect position with the Saints where he didn't have to be the guy early.
Not be the guy. You take him at 19. You could have got him there at 16. You could take him at 19. There's no pressure on him.
None.
To come in and save the franchise.
Nothing.
You literally just grab your playbook and sit behind Jameis and learn, and then you get the keys handed to you eventually. And Pickett going to the Steelers, I really didn't. I just never saw Pickett as a Steelers player. Obviously, they know him. He went to college right there, worked out in the same facility.
Yep.
Practiced in the same facility, played at the same stadium. Like, they know Kenny Pickett very well. So they probably had this decision done months ago. So, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out because it's a good franchise. They're going to take care of him. They're going to give him weapons.
He has Najee Harris. He got Clay Chase. Like, he's going into a pretty good, besides the offensive line, which is troublesome.
This board. But, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to watch these quarterbacks for real over the next couple of years. This decision that the Saints made to pass on, both of them and go for Penny.
I also think it shows you the faith that they have in Jameis.
Yeah.
Whether that's right or wrong, like, I think we both kind of see him as a stopgap bridge type of quarterback. And technically with the contract they gave him, that's how you would assume they saw him as well. But by them passing on Kenny Pickett and Malik, he has no excuses at this point, man. He has a 2-year contract and he has to show what he can do in those 2 years or else they shit the bed.
Yeah, there's no competition.
Nothing.
Competing with sharing snaps with Taysom Hill and all that. He coming in getting the number one snaps. It's going to be on him to develop a chemistry with Chris Olave quickly. Keep things going with the other guys and really hit the ground running. And look, we still got draft picks left. We got 49. And what we have,
a fifth and a sixth, yeah.
A fifth and a sixth. Maybe they take a tight end at 49.
Oh, bro.
Dosage or
Give me
McBride.
Trey McBride, bro.
Trey McBride. All they could go running backs. No running backs for the last night.
No.
And we didn't expect them to go in the first round, but I think we're going to start seeing it.
Yeah, they'll start flying off.
So there's still offensive talent to get. There's still defensive talent to get. I know DA is probably itching to get a guy.
Probably so, bro, because the way he probably see it, he's like, you know what, I'll let y'all, you know what, I want to, you know, I won't say he not appease them, but he's like, you know what, I'll let the offense get theirs. Mm-hmm. I need to get mine.
Cornerback,
safety,
or shit. There's no ton of linebackers out there. I mean, who knows? Like, I don't know. We'll see. Be a defensive tackle.
Could be. Yeah, I was about to say could be a defensive tackle as well, because it sounds like DA really they had Jordan Davis high on their board, which is not a fucking surprise to any of us, bro. Soon as I saw those combine results, we already knew. Let's talk about Trevor Penning, who is a super polarizing prospect of what people thought of him all draft season. I remember when we got the Senior Bowl, watching prospects, had no idea who the fuck Trevor Penning was. All I saw was this lineman on day one, and I thought he looked pretty good. I was like, damn, he got some good ass snaps and things like that. And I remember talking about him after we did the Senior Bowl episode and all that. And, I watched one game of his before we record this. One game, and I'm not probably going to watch another because I just can't watch old lineman, bro. I'll say this. I get it. The 16 penalties obviously is a concern. Sometimes he does get beat, whether it's, he got beat one-on-one in Senior Bowl practices. He's gotten beat one-on-one playing last year. But I watched them against Iowa State, which is a Big 12 school. And I just kept watching. I was like, he has a lot of fucking tools. Like I went in expecting that tape to be a lot worse. Wasn't bad at all. And so this pick really, to me, it hinges on Doug Marrone.
Yeah. They
brought him back, be an O-line coach. Doug Marrone coached a damn good O-line last year at Alabama. He was coaching Evan Neal, et cetera, et cetera. If Doug Marrone can get his hands on Penning and mold him and get him to use all those athletic tools that he has, the Saints will have something. But I think he's a more raw prospect, I think, than people really realize. I think people want him to start week one. I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of started being like a sixth offensive lineman, kind of have Hurst at left tackle and slowly bring him along that way instead of just throwing him into the fire. But we'll see.
Do you think he's purely a left tackle, or do you think you can see a situation where they move Ramczyk to left and try Penning?
I think he's purely a left just because he's so fucking tall, but also Zach Strief was tall as shit and he played right. But see, this is what Detroit tried to do last year with Penei, and they had Tyler Decker, and they were trying to Ramczyk's been at right tackle for years. And I think they'll start off trying to keep Ram at right and put Penning at left and go from there. But we also, I think this shows that as much as I kept saying, Hurst is a servable left tackle that you can beat, the team didn't think so, right? They think that they needed an upgrade, like a franchise left tackle, and they went out and got him. And I know he's not everyone's favorite, but it's all going to be dependent on Doug Marrone and what happens with Penning's career, in my opinion.
What do we know about that? So much of that stuff, some of it's coachable.
Right.
O-line coaches they look at those 16-year-old kids like, oh, man, he just needs to do this.
He only had one in that Iowa State game. It was a holding penalty, but it wasn't egregious or anything. But other his tape against Iowa State, and I think that's probably one of Northern Iowa didn't play a lot of Power 5 colleges, but they did play Iowa State, and I was pretty impressed watching that tape.
Yeah,
I was.
You just never know. I remember saying, a lot of Saints fans being upset when we signed Ramchick.
Oh, bruh. I remember that.
I didn't know anything about him. I looked at the tape, solid. Came in, wasn't expected to start early. Street got hurt week 1.
That's right.
He was out for the season.
Oh, that's right.
You just had to throw Ram into the fire, and he kept the job since then.
All pro.
He was all pro, as a rookie. So that just tells you, you just never know. You just gotta hope you can just trust the process. And look, offensive tackle was a hole, and they needed to address it. It was a hole somewhat created because they couldn't pay, or they didn't want to pay Teron Olmstead. And, that was a gamble that they decided to take, just with his injury history and the money he would cost. And so this is where it leads. So, you just hope it works out.
Yeah. And I'll say this, right? If Penning hits, if he's good, besides right guard, and we'll see maybe what happens with Ruiz. I don't know. If right guard is not an open competition in training camp, they're doing this all wrong. It got to be. It got to be Ruiz. It got to be London or not.
That's why I'm happy they brought Doug Marrone in, though.
Yes,
because he has no ties to Ruiz whatsoever.
None.
So he can come in like I'm not
doing no.
And if Doug Marrone, he don't hold his tongue.
He does not.
So he gonna speak his shit.
They got Landon Young. They got Throckmorton. Like it got to be open competition. Yeah. But if Penning hits and he's good, you got Penning. I know Pete gets a lot of strays, sometimes very deserved strays, but Pete
Ruiz made us feel completely different about Pete.
Ain't that crazy, bro? Ain't that crazy?
He is Pete.
Bro, if Ruiz was good as Pete, bro, we'd be all right. But you got Penning, you got Pete, you got Eric McCoy, you still have a hole at right guard, and you got Ramchick, and hopefully he can come back healthy and be himself. Then you're hoping that your O-line is back to being a strength, and now you have more availability in your O-line. And my biggest concern last night was that they were going to invest in O-line, trade up to invest in O-line, and have like a, you got a fortress that's heavily protected, but you don't got no toys. You ain't got nothing to steal. And I was like, but now that they got Chris Olave, it's like, okay, now you want to protect your quarterback. You always want to protect your quarterback. Now you have a reason to, because if you have no one getting open down the field, it don't matter how good your offensive line is. No one's open. Right. But now they have Chris Olave, you potentially have Michael Thomas coming back healthy. I think it changes the perception of the team, and maybe, I was thinking before, like maybe they're like a 6 to 8 win team. I would say now maybe 8 to 9. Yeah. Cap it right at 8 to 9, or no, 8 to 9 win team.
That's still right.
Now, pick 49, they go out and get a tight end like Trey McBride or Greg Dulcich and just continue to get weapons. I don't think so. I think DA going, because they know they don't have a pick until the 5th round. So DA just itching. I tweeted this earlier. How and I don't know if the Saints would do it, because this is more of a later down the line type of move. How did you feel they drafted Ojabo? He was probably going top 15, top 12 before he tore his Achilles at his pro day. Draft him, stash him away. He technically wouldn't even have to come back. I wouldn't even try to make him come back this year. I would just draft him, let him get healthy, and just coach the hell out of him all through his rookie season.
Yeah.
I don't think they would do it. I would be shocked if they did it. But if they board played out, I don't know if their cloud is, but they drafted like a Christian Watson or a George Pickens at 49, bro, and double dipped that wide receiver.
I will, bro.
We're about to get the shots back out, bro.
Bring the shots out. I know they ain't stuff like that.
No, I know. There's no way. There's no way. But last night was exciting. It felt good to hear a pick announced and be like,
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, finally, it's been a long time. I don't know where we are right now, but the live stream last night got to almost up to like 553 views, you said?
During the stream, and even after 800.
And so, I mean, that's cool as shit for us.
Not to mention the Patreons who was actually like on the Zoom with us. That was just so dope.
It was dope.
People we talk to every day on the Discord and everything, just seeing them.
Dope as shit.
I have no idea how like that shit was fire.
It was. And I know we got a late minute Patreon person.
Yeah.
And they wanted the Zoom link. So here's the thing when it comes to like the messages on Patreon, like they don't really give us a notification on them. So if you become and this is for anyone, if you become a Patreon and at any level, at whatever you give, if you want to reach out to Ryan or myself, just send us a DM on Twitter, or just send a DM to the Saints Twitter pod account, and we'll see it a lot quicker. But the DMs or the messages on Patreon, sometimes we don't see them because they just don't. There's really no notifications for them. So it's like I said, it feels like we've become full circle because this is our third draft, right? Since we've started the podcast. The first was the Reese draft. Last year was the Peyton Turner draft. And now, we have a draft. And don't get me wrong, there were some picks. I was happy about the Paulson Adebo pick last year. But to be just elated for a draft pick, it was about time. It's about time, man. And I'm glad that at least to some degree the team saw what we saw, and it's like we're not fucking blind. Exactly. If we could see it. If every NFL team defense sees it, y'all gotta fucking see it. And I think, and finally they showed us like, okay, we see it. like
just sticking it to Sean Payton ass. Talking about wait till the second round. Man, fuck you.
Not only did they not wait till the second round, they traded up.
Well, what you should have done.
And we're gonna wrap up, but the Saints, for them to trade up to 16 to 11, they were smart, man, because they saw the run coming.
Yeah.
Right. Drake London went 8. Yeah. Garrett Wilson went 10, and they knew if we don't move up, if we don't move up right now, we're not gonna get our guy.
They would have been stuck with like I said, I like George Pickens, but you know what I'm saying.
They probably wouldn't have been stuck with like a Treylon Burke or I
don't think they like Burke
or a Dotson.
Yeah. So. No, it worked out. They got the guy they like. From the very beginning, when we talk about Chris Olave, he just looked like a Saint.
Just looks like a Saint, bro.
He reminds me a lot of Brandon Cooks in some ways.
Interesting.
Just in, people, I guess people try to knock him about, he didn't have a lot of yak yards because he's not a real hard physical player.
No, he's not.
Not breaking a lot of tackles. Bro, but watch this dude run routes and get out on the perimeter.
Smooth.
And just get open, man. And I ain't talking about open like, just a little open. Like he's yards away.
Yes.
From good cornerbacks, not like, like cornerbacks that are getting drafted in the NFL. He dusting them, man. And the Saints need that. We need players that can get open because not only does that help that player, it helps the entire offense.
The entire offense, man.
It pins the safeties back. Your teams are forced to play too deep or, like all these different coverages.
It also helps with AK in the run game, bro.
It helps the run game. It opens the run game up. You can run more, 3-by-1 sets, bunches, and it just gives defenses just headaches, and we needed that, man, because defense, they just had like an easy time, bro. Like we got
cover Lil Jordan today.
Lil Jordan, not Lil Jordan.
Kevin White.
Jawan Johnson.
What? Is Kenny Stills even paying attention to the play call?
All we got to worry about Johnson. He's gonna make it to the third quarter, man. So, man. Like I'm just so glad. We'll see how it works out, but I'm just so glad. I see the vision now, bro. I see the vision.
Yes.
Been asking about it all these months. I see the vision.
We see it too, man. We see it too. And I wore, so a quick sad story. I lost my hashtag Saints Twitter polo that Nola Hat Plug April made for us for the Senior Bowl. She got me, another one's coming my way. Thank you, April. So she got me hooked up, but I wanted to wear it during the live stream. Have no idea where the fuck it was. I don't know where it is in our place. It's gone, bro. I don't know where it is. So I wore my X-Files I Want to Believe shirt, bro, because I wanted to believe that these dudes was not going to fuck this up. They didn't, bro. They didn't. So Jeff Ireland, you're not probably listening, but appreciate it, Jeff. Appreciate it, Jeff. So we're wrapping this up. Give me the player you want at 40, a realistic player you want at 49.
Greg, man. I'll tell you.
You want Greg Dulcich? Friend of the podcast, Greg Dulcich.
Our favorite tight end, man.
Bro.
I just think it'll be a nice.
Ooh, if it's Greg and he can get vertical, bro, you place that with Chris Olave and you got an offense, bro.
You got a team.
Yes.
You got a team that's ready.
Yes.
But whatever you do with quarterback, keep Jameis.
Whatever.
Quarterback later, you sign whoever, 2 years later, I don't know. But you have a team that's ready to roll. And, a young offense that can roll and get better. That's all I want to see, man. But, I would love them to get Greg. I'm fine with a running back. I'm not blown away by any of these running backs, but I like a lot of them. Kenneth Walker.
I haven't watched any of them.
I watched Kenneth Walker.
Oh, did you?
Brees is fine. I'm a big fan of James Cooks. That might be a little early for him, but I wouldn't hate him.
Man, his game is so much like AK's. It's ridiculous.
It is. So that basically pushes.
It's redundant.
It's redundant, but it's playmakers. I look at it like man,
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm hoping for more. I don't know much about the second and third round defensive players, so I can't really give an opinion on who's available now on defense, as far as safeties or cornerbacks.
You know who I wouldn't be
Sure, Duffy go?
Yes, he went to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You know who I wouldn't be shocked if they drafted? I don't know if he's going to be that 49. It's Peyton Turner's teammate at Houston last season, Logan. I was about to say Paul. Logan Hall.
Mm.
He's kind of like I guess maybe like a poor man's Eric Armstead in terms of just how he kind of plays, defensive tackle, penetrating type of play next to Peyton Turner. Before Peyton Turner got drafted, he just seems like a Saints player. And if DA was really wanting to draft Jordan Davis, I know that they met with Logan Hall. I don't know if they put him through a private workout. I know they met with him. I know he meets the metrics. Wouldn't be shocked if they took Logan Hall at all. But in terms of who I would want them to draft, I would say, even though Greg Dulcich is a friend of the podcast, I'm going Trey McBride, only because I watched Trey McBride. Greg Dulcich is more of a vertical big play tight end. I think Trey McBride is more just like a overall tight end. You can play him. He is what Trey McBride is what they envisioned when they drafted Adam Troutman.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a way, way better version of Adam Troutman. But if they were to get another playmaker at 49, I wouldn't hate it at all. I'm going to pose this to you because I can see him being on the board. I watched a couple of games of him, but this is the place where you said if they drafted him, you'd be okay with it. How would you feel about Matt Corral, 49?
I was just looking at him, just thinking about it.
Y'all can't see Ryan's face right now, but he's like,
I guess I wouldn't hate them drafting any QB. I know, some people say, you take QBs the second, third round. You look at draft trends over the last 20 to 30 years. Those guys rarely work out. Quarterbacks rarely work out, period. First round. Second round is even less. Third round is worse and worse and worse. It's drastically worse the further you draft those guys. But that, to me, that's just I don't know, that's just kind of backwards analysis to me. To me, you just got to look at the talent of the guy and what you think he can bring to the team. Like I said before, I can talk myself into back around. He has some things that I do like, some things I don't like.
His size is a big one for me, man.
Size, durability,
Yep.
the way he plays. he plays like a kind of a smarter Johnny Manziel, but he doesn't. I guess he doesn't have big plays that Johnny Manziel had in college, but he kind of reminds me of him, just kind of the edge he plays with. He's a tough. Like you read about him and people talk about him, like he's like a tough alpha male. Like he's that dude. Like, he's tough as nails. So, and I like that about him. So I can see, that grip. Somebody like him, somebody like him coming to the Saints. But
if you read the Alt Breer thing when he was talking about, what teams are potentially going to do in the draft. So Alt said that the front office people liked Kenny Pickett more. The coaches lean more towards Matt Corral, which tells me like Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis probably preferred Kenny Pickett. Yeah. They didn't draft him, but coaches liked Matt Corral, and I could see it being a situation where, maybe DA feel, I don't say he like stepped aside, but he was like, I didn't get Jordan Davis, so let me get something. I haven't watched enough of these like the second round safeties to know how good they are.
I don't see any on
I was crossing fingers that Lewis Cine would get. Didn't happen. Yeah. He went to the Vikings, 32 overall pick. I'll give you a pick. Not that I would hate this pick. Not the Saints that would make, but the Patriots, or not the Patriots. Sorry, the Bucs are picking 33, so they got the first pick in the second round. Could you see them drafting Malik Willis, bro? I don't think they would.
Yeah, maybe took trash last year.
They took trash like in round 3. Oh shit, you might be right. I think it was the second round. But if Tom Brady's probably leaving,
he's getting here.
He's probably leaving that. Like I could see them taking Malik, bro, and he could just sit, and then we gotta deal with Malik twice a year for next 10 years, bro. Yeah. I would hate.
But knowing that man, you probably get like something.
It's Todd Bowles, man. So Todd Bowles going defense.
He's still on the board, man. They probably get him and just add another fucking linebacker like they need.
It wouldn't surprise, they don't have JPP, or they haven't brought him back. They don't have Sue either. Wouldn't shock me if they go like an edge rusher or go defensive lineman. Yeah. So they don't have to pay whoever it is to come back. Anyway, that's us kind of recapping round 1 of the draft. The plan, so we're if you're listening to this, obviously the episode is up, but the plan is to get this episode up prior to round 2 starting. You guys have time to listen to it, and then after round 2, we'll recap later this evening after we have our Friday night kind of closing out ceremony dinner with all 4 of us. We'll try to recap everything kind of quickly so that we recapped it round 1 and round 2 in the episode. I want to give much shout out to Ryan's wife, Bree, for being our media correspondent person, taking pictures and videos of us. Belated happy anniversary to Ryan and Bree. Shout out to my girl Jay for both our women coming out supporting us. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Shout out to Jay too for, in terms of that data, bro, that matching, usually on point. Chris Olave was in the limited metrics. Yeah. Trevor Penning did not show up on the O-line. They didn't match with the O-line metrics simply because his 40 time was too fast. Mm-hmm. So he was an outlier.
Oh, okay.
So that's one thing about the matching is that if you have like elite prospects that test crazy, like Charles Cross, Jordan Davis, Trevor Penning, where they have, if something is like super below what the profile is, it's not going to match them because they're an outlier. So the only reason Trevor Penning wasn't on there is because his 40 time was a lot faster than what historically they've drafted over the years. Yeah. So, but Chris Olave was right there in the limited metrics. So I'm going to kind of go through the list for 49 to see, who might they draft, but much respect and love for all our supporters and listeners, man. We didn't even talk about really having lunch yesterday with Greg and Mark.
Yeah, that was dope.
You know, shout out to Greg Rosenthal and Mark Sessler around the NFL podcast. We met up at a restaurant here, had a great lunch with them, cut it up. It was the Saints Twitter podcast and around the NFL podcast to a degree getting together. That's crazy, man. It's crazy. I remember where we were 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago, just dudes talking football on the internet, bro. and now we're, you know, so it's a little surreal. But thank all y'all for listening to us, supporting us as this big week for us kind of winds down. We really appreciate it. Something that we did last year during the live stream is that we picked two. We did like a raffle, picked 2 Patreon people to get a tumbler. So this year we're only going to do 1 tumbler because 1 tumbler is going to Brian. So big shout out to Brian again for help. You know, just shout out to Brian, appreciation. So you have a tumbler coming your way, and then later on, a couple of days, I'll pick a person to get another tumbler. Who, if you're a Patreon, who support us. So with that, we're out. We'll be back later on tonight to recap round 2. We out.
Peace.
O'Reilly. You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.